There are two ways to correct or specify missing APR data. One is in the APR itself, and the other is by using backdate mode. We're in the APR, we ran it, we see the results here, and now we're scanning through the categories to look for columns where there is data that is missing or not given. And we come to the age and gender category, and here's a column not given, and we look through and we see there's a number here. And the number is 1. That means one person has specified or missed specifying age or gender. If there were 20 people, we would see the number 20 here. We only see 1. To see who these people are, click on the link. The pop-up appears, and it's John Doe, and he's missing gender. And a way to verify that is to go back to his profile and go to the gender question, and sure enough, it's empty. You may be tempted to fix it right here and specify that his gender is male, and then press Save Changes, and you'll think that you'll have fixed the APR. You'll think that if you go back to the APR screen and rerun the report, that this will change to 0, and he will have his gender specified, and he'll show up here in the male column. But that's not the case, and the reason why is I just answered this question. It's 1 day old, actually less, and it took on today's date. Today's date is the 6th. I'll click on the history bar. Sure enough, it shows that on the 6th I specified that John was a male. But remember, back in the entry, click on the entry button. The entry was created on the 1st. So the entry, from its perspective, on the 1st is always going to think that that question has not been answered. So we need to somehow backdate this question so that Service Point thinks that this answer was specified on the 1st. And so when the APR runs again, it'll think that the answer of male was given on the 1st, and the answer will show up in the male category. So there's two ways. The first way is in the APR itself. Let's talk about that way first. I'm going to go back to Service Point here, and I'm going to go back to male, and I'm going to delete the answer. Change this back to empty. Let's go back to the APR. All right, so answer has not been given. Click on the link. See what we saw before. Here's John Doe. Click on his link and click on the pencil next to the entry, and we're brought into the entry screen itself. This is the very same screen. Notice that the entry date stays the same. It stays the date of the entry. It doesn't default anymore to the current date. So this has happened in the past. It's 12/01, and this means that any other questions that I answer in here are going to take on the date of the entry date. So now when I answer gender and change this to male and press just save for now. Now when I look at the history bar, it has a date answered as of the 1st. Close it, save and close, exit out of here. Now when we rerun the report, we're going to see this 1 change to a 0, and the 1's going to hop over here to the male column. We build a report. Still building. Okay, now it's refreshed. We go back to column number 5. It's gone out of the not given, and it's been moved over to the male column. That's the first way of correcting. Here's the second way, by using backdate mode. Let's go back into service point, and I'm going to refresh the screen here. Alright, now we see we have an answer. I'll click on the history. It's 6 days old. I'm going to put this back to being unanswered, so I'm going to delete the record. Refresh. And now it's empty. And so as before, if I were to create a answer today on the 6th, save it, again, history is going to show that I answered on the 6th, but the entry was on the 1st. So if I were to rerun the APR, his number would go back into the not given column. So again, here's the second way how to create this, and it's using backdate mode. Here's the backdate mode button. Specify the day to which you want to backdate to. So I'll specify the 1st because that was the day that I should have or wanted to have answered the question. Notice the time here. The time doesn't matter. The time is going to default to 12 a.m. when I press the backdate button. Press the backdate button. Tells me what I'm about to do. I press OK. And now I'm in backdate mode. I see that specified here, backdate mode, everything's yellow. Remember, for the assessment date I specified the 1st, and the time I didn't worry about because it backdate the time to 12:01 a.m. Okay, so that was well before I created the entry. Here's gender. On the 1st, it was empty. If I want to know what I specified later on the 6th, I can find out by clicking on the history bar. Click on history, and I see on the 6th I tried to make a correction of male, so I'll carry that correction over back to the 1st, close the window, male, save the changes. It's refreshing. Alright, now I'm done with backdate mode, so I want to return to live mode. So I click on the blue link, return to live mode, click OK. And now when I look at the history, yes, I see the 6th when I tried to make the correction, but it didn't work for me. But I also see the 1st. And so now from the entry perspective, I had an answer on the 1st, and when I rerun the APR, the number comes out of the not given column and goes into the male column. So that concludes the 2 ways of correcting missing data in the APR.